Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So, hi there. My name is Margaret McKenzie, and I have spent a career teaching students of all ages and levels to break myths and find scholarships for post-secondary education. In 2026, I thought I would go outside of my comfort zone and post 7 short videos per week, and which can be found on my Instagram account. My why? Education is for everyone. But I digress because today I am thrilled to introduce you to a dynamic, award winning woman with a passion for community development who has founded her own scholarship opportunity for students. Um, have you ever met a person who you can see the Holy Spirit in their heart? Well, Paula Huntley is just one of those people. From the moment I met you, Paula, I was in awe of your community leadership, your vision, and just to make the world a better place. So, just to give you a little bit about Paula, she's a woman of influence who was a guest speaker for the study of women's economic empowerment in Ottawa that is now in the House of Commons tapings. She's earned the Governor General Sovereign Medal for volunteers and is the founder of 4 community programs, including one to help NSCC students going into trades. But this is only a small sample of your accolades and nominations for making positive and lasting changes in the world, Paula. You see a need and you find a solution. One example of that is Paula had a vision to help students in the trades to have access to their expensive tools required for the job. So she's since collaborated with NSCC to offer trade school funding program. If you want to get things done, give it to a busy person. So Paula is my first guest interview on the 2026 Teacher Scholarship Series because Paula has founded a scholarship called the O'Brien Huntley Scholarship. And without further ado, let's talk about that scholarship. Paula, over to you.
Oh, thank you. And listen, thanks for having me. This is an awesome experience. It's nice to be able to talk about something that you're passionate about with
Yeah.
someone who has the same interest. So I can't even remember when it actually started. It was so long ago. I was affected personally by a lot of illness in our family. You know, there was a lot of cancer. I had started doing a lot of walk for the cures. And, I used to go to Boston to do their Susan G. Komen. It was the 3-day 100K. I was hooked. And go to Toronto for the Princess Margaret and then the Jewish Hospital in Montreal. But it didn't really seem to be enough. I knew there was I spoke to some researchers and kind of wanted to get their intake on, if someone could help, what would it be? Um, and, initially I mentioned what I wanted to do. And at the time, the cost was $500 of what I could afford, because I was doing so much on the side to help other programs. And so my first test was, you know what, I think I'll just roll it out to some local schools, see what happens. If someone responds, then it's a good thing. If not, I have to tweak what I'm doing and maybe, the famous word of pivot and see what else will work. So I guess the first year I had 27 applicants. And
Wow.
yeah, it was, the kids were dropping off at my house and the parents were waiting in the car and they would want to talk to me. And of course, I thought, oh my God, this is where I wanted to be. I want to talk to them. I want to see, how it's working. And of course, after the years, after I would award them, I found the applicants became low. So, you know, I talked to my nephew who's an Acadia student, and their schedule is so full. It's so hard for them to just spend time and be on the website looking for scholarships, right?
Yeah.
So, I thought about that. So I took a year off. I thought, no, it's no good to just put it out there and have nobody apply. That's not helping anybody, right? So right now I'm coming back with there's another thought process to this. Yes, I can still send it to the schools, but here's the other spin on it that I'm hoping that they will like. So when you talk to the schools, and it's great, principals are busy, but they'll post it and whatever. But I think one of the issues that they may need help with is a mentorship on how to apply for a scholarship. So,
Yes.
it's not easy talking about yourself. Sometimes people think, oh, this is a brag. Well, yes, actually it is. But you have to know what to talk about. So if you're sending it to somebody, they want to be hooked right away and go, "Oh, wow, just a second. I've read 30 right now, but number 31, there's some
Tell
magical
a story.
going on here." Yes. It's not just about marks are important, absolutely, because it shows, hard work and perseverance, but who are you? Tell me about you. And I think that's the pitch that people don't know. And, of course, in my background, I'm a recruiter. I teach people how to apply for work. Well, guess what? Same sort of mentality, right? I put down a resume and then I talk to you about you. Tell me, it's not just hopes and dreams. It's like, where'd you come from? Why are you taking this path? What's your future? And that's a hard question because let's face it, I'm 62 and I'm still trying to find what I want to be
What
when
do
I
you
grow
want to
up,
do
right?
when you grow up?
So, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you find something new all the time, right? But for the students, it's nice to be able to zero in on, and it helps them after they've been mentored and they've filled one out. Then the second one becomes easier. And then the third one becomes easier. So after a while, they're on a trajectory that's successful. So it doesn't
I have a
matter which
friend
one.
who did it that way. She went over 180,000 in scholarships. The first
Wow.
17 were no's. And she kept going. She kept going. And her trick was telling her story without using the I
Yes.
and just saying, my parents went through a divorce, or there was cancer in the family, or whatever was her story. And
Right.
that really piqued the interest because the committee will usually have to read like 30 or 40 applicants. So you don't want to bore them to death. You want them to be intrigued and even laugh, maybe.
Absolutely. And the other thing they want to think about is everything is about paying it forward. Everything is about community driven. We, as a province, Canada wide, we now depend on them, students, moving forward in their future. Uh, they're going to be, guess what? They're going to be around the country. They are
Yeah.
going to be taking over from us. And so we need to make sure we are helping them in that situation. So it's again not just about the money piece, right? It's about let me help guide you in some way, and then you'll always remember that story and you will pass that story on to when someone down the road talks to you about, I'd really like to apply for a scholarship, and then they can say, you know what, I had somebody one time share their thoughts with me and it always stuck in my head. So to me it's a bigger picture, but yeah, it's not just about scholarship. Yeah.
How does one apply for the O'Brien Huntley Scholarship?
So once it's posted, it's just an email. I don't need a video. I do like to make sure that they sit down and they take time to write what their thoughts are. Videos can be quick. Sometimes you can get caught in the moment and it's not, oh, I didn't mean to say that, and but then it's sent. But this way they get to read it. It's like, oh no, that's not right. That so they're
So
validating
you
what
want
they're
an
writing.
essay.
Yep,
You want,
absolutely.
and do you have a question for the essay, or
So
what would you like them
yeah,
to say in their essay?
so the things that I kind of guide them as to, yes, marks are great. Number two, get me some sort of references, and not from your mom because we hope they love you, but coach, teacher that you work with, maybe you're helping them. It could be somebody in your community. It's a very strong leader that and they can speak to you. And guess what? Before you ask them for a reference, ask them, if I ask you for a reference, what are you going to say about me? Because you want to make sure it's strong, right?
Yeah.
So those two pieces for sure. And then it's about tell me about you. So they've got the other stuff out of the way and tell me what are you going into. So for me, for my scholarship, it's about healthcare. You can be doctor, nurse, veterinarian. There's lots of ways to be look after health, and I'm a huge fur baby lover, and so I've included that underneath my topics that they can look at. So it's quite a wide variety right now. Acupuncturist, occupational, it's up to you.
Anything to do with health.
Absolutely. Yep.
Can I go back to the references that you were talking about
Sure.
for a second?
Yeah.
So with reference to references, of course, not your mom. I like that.
Yeah.
There. Oh, I lost my train of thought. I'll have to come back to it. I lost my train of thought.
That's okay, but I mean, under references, I had mentioned teachers. I had mentioned it could be pastors. It could be you're in a youth group. It could be you're in a singing choir. It could, because that's about.
I remember now. So you said to ask them what they would say about you.
Absolutely.
I've often said to them too, when I've been asked for a reference, I've said, tell me 3 things that you want me to focus on for that reference letter. Okay. So that to me, from when I'm writing the reference letter, gives me an idea of what they feel are their strengths. Is that okay to do as well?
You can. When it comes to someone talking about their strengths, I'll give you an example. So they could say, I work well in teams. So give me an example of how you're working in a team, right? Because I'm looking for the leadership piece. I'm looking for the participatory role. What did you contribute? Right? So it's a larger umbrella of just not one word, but now break it down as in a how.
Tell the story.
Absolutely. That's all we do. We're storytellers in everything we do. Yeah.
So does your essay have a word count?
No. You tell me. Some are short and to the point, and there's a couple that have been longer, but totally engaging. So, you're hooked in it. Some of them actually I read and I was like, oh, it's over. I can read this again. So, it was very engaging. So they obviously took time and thought about where they were going. Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask. I know what the answer is. ChatGPT. Yes or no?
Yeah. Oh no. Listen. I believe in ChatGPT. Okay. It's a great guide as to, let's say you've never applied for a scholarship and you're thinking, I don't know, like, where do I begin? They can give you ideas. Don't give me exact word for word of what they're saying, but tweak an idea, right? So if they give you 3 bullet points on things to concentrate on, okay, great, concentrate on them. However, you still have to break them down. So they are a guide only.
So use it as a tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Because I know some scholarships will put it in a ChatGPT has been used, and then they will deny the scholarship right away. But if you use it as a tool, I like that. Just to get the points in your head, then you write the article.
So, to share, I have had some brain trauma. So for myself, there are days when it's harder to sort words than others. So I always use ChatGPT, whether it's I need to write this proposal, this is the topic, where do you see, give me some guidance, or I need to do something on an expo like I'm coming up, give me some ideas. So, it really depends on the day. So I think they're a great guide for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So your scholarship, the O'Brien Huntley Scholarship, is primarily for anybody in healthcare, including veterinary healthcare.
Yes.
What you want is an essay with no specific word count, just to explain who that person is.
Yes.
Are grades and financial need part of the selection process?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, you could read 3 good applicants, and then you get to the 4th and you see, well, their score is 65. I'll just as an example. But when you read the story, it tells me why the results are where they are. So maybe they need a little bit more mentoring, right? So there's always a reason for things and how they happen, right? So never assume someone's life. Everybody has had, I'll call it the hiccup of the day, or just can't see the path forward. And that's where we come in, right? Because, people who give scholarships, it's not just about handing over a check. You now have ownership of that person to help. And the nice thing about most of the ones that I get after we get our picture, they send me a thank you note, but sometimes they'll send me their graduation picture of their veterinary or how they've gone into the field. I'm like, oh my gosh, first of all, I love that. But secondly, I can't even believe they remembered me, because I'm sure I was not the only scholarship that they applied for. So,
I
it
got
always makes me,
goosebumps,
yeah,
Paula.
it makes me feel like that was a great choice.
What is the
They are on
deadline
the
for
right
the
path, right?
O'Brien Huntley scholarship?
Yes.
What is the deadline for the O'Brien Huntley scholarship?
Well, in the what are we into now? April. So I'm kind of very flexible, because I know students right now. You know what? They're gearing up for graduations. They're gearing up for exams. They're whew, their mind is going. Plus, some of them have jobs. So they're very um, highly focused on what they're doing. So instead of it being, guess what? When you're finished school, that's the deadline. Nope. Sometimes I'll run it right into August, because it gives them a lot of time. And guess what? They're not going through a corporation with me. I'm a
Right.
sole proprietor as a business, and I can have a turnaround time of like 2 days. So,
Right.
or I send a check to their school, and it's done, and they don't even have to worry about it. So it's kind of a process. Yeah.
And final question, is it one person for $500, or have you decided how much?
I have right now, it's one person for 500. I used to have two at 500 each, but strangely enough, it wasn't as successful as one at five. So, you know what? I curve with what I see. And then, but who knows, this year, you never know, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, for me, you know what? I give to so many on the side, but sometimes there's something about a scholarship that's so rewarding, right? So the more I grow, the more it will grow. Yeah.
Especially as you see with the thank you notes that come through. Uh, Paula, thank you so much for gifting us with your time today, and more importantly, for being a role model and a mentor to make this world a better place. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you today about the O'Brien Huntley Scholarship, and I cannot wait to share your scholarship on my Instagram and other channels. We've learned today that it truly takes a village. And Paula, thank you for all that you do to make a lasting positive difference in our world.
No worries. And thanks for thinking of me. Take care.